Oh yeah, that's all I need. I'm gonna go into your freaking like Kardashian game and screw everything up for you. Just keep clicking the
Did you
daisies.
go in the shower with your boyfriend yet? Tyra, in the game.
Tyra, give me my Rubik's Cube.
In the game.
Don't mess with the keywords.
Take it.
Take it.
So stupid.
In the Kardashian game, because like I obviously asked for it, it says they do the shower. Should I return or should I go in? I always see that on like for ads on their video. Thanks. Yeah, so.
Always dating inside of the
I have chapstick.
Potato and glazed meatballs. Did you draw on your eyebrows? Yeah. In the back. You're gonna follow it all the way up to it. Who's on that?
Okay,
My phone feels broken, so.
That's good.
so this lesson just combines all of the special quadrilaterals that we've done. I'm going to put these on here and leave them up here because you're going to have to make a chart like that. That's the assignment in the book. And then you just got to put a check mark for everything that's true. So I'll leave this up here for you to reference if you want. Most of them you'll already know. But for a parallelogram, obviously opposite sides are parallel. So you draw triangles in there to show that they're parallel.
Corresponding angles are supplementary.
Opposite sides are congruent. Opposite angles are congruent. Consecutive angles add up to 180. And the diagonals bisect each other. So this piece would equal this piece, and this piece would equal that piece. So, special parallelograms are squares, rectangles, and rhombuses. In a square and a rectangle, you have to have 90-degree angles. Opposite sides are parallel and congruent because they are parallelograms. It's just in a square, they're all the same. In a rectangle, it's just the opposite two sides are the same. In a rhombus, all four sides are the same. Then, obviously, opposite angles are congruent in a rhombus. Opposite are congruent here because they're both 90. Put that away. Consecutive angles add up to 180. So the only other thing is that you need to know is the diagonals. In a square, since they are parallelograms, the diagonals do bisect each other. It's just when it's a square, they'll cut them into 4 equal pieces. In a rectangle, that is also true. Cuts it into 4 equal pieces. In a rhombus, that's not true. This piece would equal that, and this one would equal that one. Okay, the other thing that's true is the diagonals are perpendicular in a square and perpendicular in a rhombus. They form a 90. And then as far as the angles, in a square, the diagonals will bisect each corner. In a rectangle, they do not. This angle would be smaller than that one. In a rhombus, they do. This would equal that. This one would equal that one, and so on. So, diagonals bisect each vertex in a square and a rhombus. Okay, so that covers the square, rectangle, rhombus, and a parallelogram. Then we've got the kite and a trapezoid. In a kite, these two sides are equal, and these two sides are equal, but they're not all four equal, because then it'd be a rhombus. Opposite, these two angles are congruent, but these two are not, so just one set of opposite angles are congruent. Diagonals bisect just one. Oh, that's crooked. So this diagonal gets bisected, but obviously this one doesn't. And they're perpendicular to each other. So the ones where the diagonals are perpendicular to each other are kites, rectangle, or rhombus, and rectangle. And then in a trapezoid only has one rule. It has exactly one set of parallel sides. Okay? So there is a special type of trapezoid though. You don't have to do this on filling in here. They don't have isosceles trapezoid, but on the bottom too, I think one of them is an isosceles. If two sides are the same and it's a trapezoid, you've got to name it isosceles trapezoid. So that would be like this. If this side's parallel to that, and the two legs are equal, it's isosceles. Okay? So, when you do your assignment, you can just make one big chart on this one. It's page 367. We're going to do 2 through 6 and skip 7, and then 8 through 13. So when you do your chart, you don't need to list this right here. You can just put number 2. But then you do have to label across the top. It's a parallel, it's a rectangle, rhombus, and so on. Make your chart, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And then you just put a check mark if it's true or not. So like for number 2, are both pairs of opposite sides parallel in a parallelogram?
Yes.
Yes. So you just put an X or a check mark in there. In a rectangle, are both pair of opposite sides parallel?
Yeah, you bet.
Yep. How about in a rhombus?
No.
Are both pairs of opposite sides? Right.
Yes, sir.
How about in a square?
Yes, sir.
Yes. How about in a kite?
No,
Nope.
sir.
So you just leave it blank. In a trapezoid? No, because it says both pairs, it's just one pair. So if it doesn't qualify, you just leave it blank. If it does, you put an X in there or a check mark, whichever you want. So we're just doing on this page 367, 2 through 6, 8 through 13, and then 14 and 15, you just name what shape it is.